This is Dads Watching Sports. It's the show by dads who watch sports, for dads who watch sports, or just dads in general. Here are the dads with a plan for every hashtag dad life and sports fan, Kyle Castles and Michael Draper.
Welcome, everybody, again to a wonderful episode of Dads Watching Sports. Kyle, it is episode 73 of our show. It is hard to believe we are in the 70s in episode 73. We started this Super Bowl Sunday of 2020. So remember, Kyle, we started this on Super Bowl Sunday. There was a ton going on, and then the world shut down, and there were no sports to talk about. But here we are. We're in July of 2021. We've made it. It is July 18th. I am Michael Draper. He is Kyle Castles, and we are collectively the Dads Watching Sports. Kyle, we've got a great show. I missed you last week. You were on vacation in Turks and Caicos. You were living the high life. You were sitting poolside with a little drink with an umbrella in it, just listening to classic tunes, and it was wonderful, I'm sure. But I missed you, and I'm glad to see your beautiful face back here on our show.
Have you ever vacationed with a 6, 4, and 1-year-old?
I have not, but I'm sure when you go to Turks and Caicos and you have your private nanny that joins you there, and you're able to pass that your children off, I'm sure that it's not that bad. So I'm sure it was a great vacation for you and the missus and all that we will hear about later on in our show. If you're checking this out, whether you're streaming us on the Off the Ball Network or our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, thank you for checking us out. We're broadcasting live, and we are powered by MyBookie. Kyle, did you know that right now you can use the promo code Off the Ball at MyBookie, and you can get up to $1,000 sign-up bonus, which is very exciting as part of the MyBookie network. But Kyle, I'm really excited about our show tonight. We've got a guest, Kyle, that's been on the Today Show, been featured on the Today Show. It's got a YouTube channel with over 3.5 million, I said million subscribers. And Kyle, this is quite possibly one of the greatest ideas I think I've ever seen. Kyle, so many kids out there go through life without either a dad or a male role model to just kind of show them how to do just the basic of things. Yeah. You and I were talking about it earlier about how to install a ceiling fan, and you were like, man, I don't know that I know how to do that. And so our guest that we're going to bring on in just a second, Rob Kenney, started this Dad, How Do I? And we'll talk all about it, but it's just a really, really cool idea that he came up with. And I'm excited to talk to him. So we're going to bring him on now. So Rob, thank you so much for joining us on Dads Watching Sports. How are things out in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm doing good. Things are well. We had a lot of sunny weather lately. It's been we're almost going through our own little drought, which is rare for Seattle area, So
yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I gave a little bit of an introduction there, but tell us just a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into the Dad, How Do I?
Yeah, so my name's Rob Kenney, and I started the Dad How Do I channel in April of 2020. It's something I thought of a few years ago, and I just had every excuse in the world not to do it because, you get busy. And my daughter stayed on me to do it, and I kind of ran out of excuses during the pandemic because I was quarantined. And so I thought, I can tie a tie. It won't take that long, a couple minutes, and just kind of started up. So I started April 1st of 2020. April 2nd was my first upload. And then, it went viral in May. So it didn't take long before it really was something I had never imagined it would be. I was just trying to help 30 or 40 people, trying to just put stuff all in one location where you could find a lot of basic advice from a dad.
Sure. Well, tell us. We'll get into the kind of the more history and how you select your topics and all that in just a second. But tell us just a little bit about yourself and your family, and then just kind of maybe how this idea all came to be.
Yeah, so I think part of the reason why it went viral is my backstory. My dad, I'm one of 8 kids. I'm number 7, and my dad chose to leave when I was 14, and so part of the reasoning with the channel was this has been something that would have been useful for me, and because I learned how to tie a tie from my roommate when I was 19. I learned how to shave kind of on my own, and it just kind of not perfected it, but, you figure out, oh, that didn't work so well. I'd do it this way next time. And then, plus my wife and I have raised 2 adult kids, and we wanted to raise great adults and not great kids. We didn't want them living in our basement. And so we felt like we have done that. They're out on their own and doing great. And so, I was kind of looking for something to do with my, the stuff I had to learn the hard way, and thought I'd try to pass it on to even just a few people.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot on this show, whether it be, obviously with the name of our show, Dad's Watching Sports, whether it be like passing along your favorite sports team to your child or teaching them the proper way to act in public when we're out at a restaurant and all that stuff. But it's something that I think parents we're always constantly trying to, how can we instill either values or faith or fanhood or whatever that is into kids. And so, this maybe tell us a little bit about like, what was it? Was it like a particular moment when you thought, this is something that I need to continue to do, and this is how I'm going to do it on this platform, or did it just kind of all come together?
Yeah, I'm really thankful. Yeah, so I'm a man of faith, and I've been able to share some of that in my videos, thankfully, because when I talked about this idea with my daughter a few years ago, I said, there's so much more to being a dad, than just running around fixing things. I wanted to be able to share my heart, and I'm thankful that I've been given that opportunity, because when my channel went viral, it was terrifying. I wasn't planning on so many people seeing my videos. Like my shaving video, you can see my prescription bottle in the background. I wasn't too worried about it because I thought it was only going to be a handful of people watching it. And now that's one of my most viewed videos. And so, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to share my heart, because since that time when it went viral, I didn't have a whole lot of time on my hands. I was, I was getting, like you mentioned, the Today Show. I had all kinds of different TV shows because it was in May, heading into Father's Day. So I had all kinds of people reaching out to me, wanting to interview me. And then I had, sponsorships wanting me to jump on board with them. And I was just overwhelmed, and plus terrified because I'm a bit of an introvert. So I went on my channel and basically kind of shared my heart and said thank you, and also said, I'm proud of you, because I think that's important to share with your kids. And so it's pretty cool, because I do call my subscribers my kids, and I do try to treat them like I would treat my own kids. I'm not gonna just take a sponsorship to take the money and have it not fit. If it's not something I would recommend, I'm not going to recommend it. If I wouldn't recommend it to my own kids.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really great point. Kyle, I'll let you ask a question here in just one second. But one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to get into is I actually rewatched that video that you were talking about just a little while before we got into the show, and that's one thing I wanted to commend you on. Like, especially in today's world, so many people kind of go viral, and their attitudes change, or that like you just said, you when you look at sponsorship opportunities, you think about, is this something that I want to attach myself to, and how does that impact going forward? And so that's one thing I wanted to commend you on. I mean, more than anything was watching that, and you could just see your kind of passion coming through, and then also your humility into saying like, man, I'm completely overwhelmed. This is amazing. So I wanted to pass that along to you. I thought that was really great.
Well, thanks for the encouragement. Humility is a tricky thing, because, just when you think you've conquered pride, there it is all in all its glory. You're proud of the fact that you've conquered pride, So anyway, it's been difficult to try to make sure I stay on track. But I think that's important. I'm still working. I haven't quit my job yet, because, I've been working for close to 30 years at that same place, and they've been good to me. And, so I'm still trying to maintain some, my normal life, so to speak.
Sure.
Well, basically everything you teach, I guess is the right word, is normal life stuff. And I was looking through, and you teach how to hang a ceiling fan, how to put up a gate and a fence, how to tie a tie. I think that was your first one.
Yeah.
how do you select these topics, or is it just like, hey, I'm doing this week, let's just do this one?
Kinda. Well, I have a lot. I've made a list of a lot of things I want to do, and people ask for certain things too. And I think, oh, okay, I can go ahead and do that. Like early on, when I only had a couple hundred subscribers, somebody had said, "Hey, can you show me how to change a tire?" And I thought, yeah, I'll just do that next, no problem. Now I get so many requests. I'm doing my best to try to wade through them, but I'm really grateful because I've gotten to read a book, children's books, and again, I do videos on integrity and on perspective, and so I think the door's wide open to do all kinds of things. I got some ideas of another series that I'm planning on doing, kind of explaining some sports, walking through, because people said, how does football even work? If you come into it and don't know, and I've grown up with it my whole life, and so I'll get into that and try to make it easy for people to be able to understand how football works as well as other sports.
Yeah.
Well, you might want to make sure you talk with Kyle then. I don't know if you know this. A lot of our listeners and viewers know this. So Kyle played college football, and therefore Kyle usually tends to say, "I know everything about football." So maybe a guest appearance by Kyle on the Dad How Do I Football edition. Because
there you go. I played college football too. So where did you play college football at?
I played down at Samford University in Birmingham. So it was
okay.
to play. Where'd you play?
I played at Central Washington University.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I coached out at a small D3 school in California, and we went up and played. Well, maybe that wasn't Washington. Maybe that was Oregon. Is it Puget Sound? Is that one in
Washington?
Is that Washington? Okay, so I've kind of been
UPS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the division I was in. It was NAIA at the time, NAIA Division II. They're NCAA Division II now, CW. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's great. So Kyle asked, how do you select the topics? Have there been any either topics or videos or anything that's kind of stood out to you as kind of your favorite ones, or, man, I really enjoyed not only the putting that together, but the feedback I got from that?
I think, there's so many different ones that mean different things to me. The tie, obviously, because it was the first one. And, right. And then the first one with the dad joke was the one with the stud finder. Because, before that, I kind of shied away from the dad jokes. But I called my daughter. My daughter's helped me a ton with this. And I called her and I said, Christine, there's a dad joke here. I've got to do it. I mean, it would be weird if I didn't. And so I did it on the stud finder and got such good reception from it that now I try to include a dad joke with every single video, because people, I think, would be disappointed if I didn't. So,
well, I was going to say, not to put you on the spot here, but do you have a dad joke for our listeners out there? It could be one you've used before or one that you haven't yet.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is an antenna and a satellite got married. The wedding wasn't much, but the reception was incredible.
That is really good. That's good. I like that. That's and everybody loves a good dad joke. We try to tell some on our show every once in a while, and we usually get eye rolls from the wives, and they're like, "Please don't ever do that again. You're embarrassing the heck out of me."
I try to be fairly selective with them. So, but sometimes they're like, that's pretty bad. But I ran out of time. I got to get one in. So
isn't that the whole thing about dad jokes though? Like they're supposed to be corny because it's kind of the whole premise of it,
Right. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about some of the feedback and comments that you got. I mean, you can see when you watch any of the videos, like there's just, so many comments, and they're so positive, and people are just really, impacted by these. How does that, have you been, I know you've been overwhelmed because you talked about it, but how has that kind of made you feel? And what do you pay attention to that at all? Or what's the kind of feedback from that?
I do. Yeah. And for the most part, I'm sure you guys understand, you get negative feedback too. Thankfully, for the most part, I get positive feedback sometimes, sure. But I'm normal. So, my head tends to go towards the ones that are negative and like, why'd you have to say that? But, I got such a great subscriber base. I call them my kids. Everybody's pretty positive. And if a troll comes in and says some nasty stuff, they usually jump in and say, "Hey, don't say that. That's not necessary here. We're trying to be kind." And I think that's true. You know, we're lacking kindness in our world. And so I do try to keep that mojo going where, you know, it's a safe place. I always check the box that says my videos aren't for kids, but really it's kid friendly. I'm not going to say anything that would embarrass anybody, because, you know, I want anybody and everybody to learn and have it be a safe place where you feel good about, you know, learning something that maybe you're too embarrassed to ask.
Yeah. Well, without a doubt. Absolutely. Well, let's get into a little sports talk before we let you go. You mentioned being in the Seattle area, and you said you had a Marshawn Lynch jersey nearby if need be. So maybe talk us through your fanhood. There it is.
It's my old school Marshawn Lynch.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's you know you're a true fan when you pull out a jersey that looks like it. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Been pretty worn. So.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your sports fanhood.
Yeah, so I've always, you know, grown up with football. That was always big in my family. So I played a little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball, but football was always my love, you know. And like I said, I played some college football. When I was younger, I used to like the Packers because my dad liked the Packers. I share that in my book. I actually have a book that came out in May, and I share a little bit of the story with that. And then I switched to the Steelers. You know, I jumped on the bandwagon of the Steelers with Franco Harris, and Lynn Swann was always my favorite player. And then I've stuck with the Steelers, but then the Seahawks came in '76. And so I'm obviously a Seahawks fan as well, just being from the Seattle area.
Well, it's a pretty impressive fan base. You know, the 12th man. Everybody talks about the 12th man, and a game there at the Seahawks Stadium is quite impressive. I lived up there for a couple of years, like I mentioned to you before the show, and we just went to a preseason game. My wife and I did. I think they were playing the Rams, and it was the year that the Seahawks lost in the Super Bowl to the Patriots. And just for a preseason game, the atmosphere was just incredible. Yeah,
no, it's definitely loud. Absolutely. So yeah, it's hard to get tickets, but it's fun to go to the games for sure.
So are you going to be a big Seattle Kraken fan, the new NHL team?
Not a big hockey fan, unfortunately. You know, I don't know. It's been pretty fun. You know, we have the Thunderbirds. I'm actually down in, you know, closer down south of Seattle. And so we have, you know, the minor league hockey here. It's fun to watch. I think I just never have really gotten into it. I think it's just the puck is too small. So it's kind of hard to where I can't even tell where it's at. You know, like, what was that? I don't know what that rule was. So maybe I need to have somebody else do a hockey video to help me understand the rules.
It's a lot easier to follow the puck when you're at the game live. I've noticed that. Michael and I both are in the Nashville area, just south of Nashville. And so we have the Predators here. And I've been to a bunch of games, Mike. I know you've been to a few at least.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot easier to follow live. So once the Kraken get going, once they've been released, perhaps.
Nice.
Very well played.
Go check out a game, and things tend to start making sense when you see it live. I can't understand it, but for me, just watching the game live, like, I understood a lot more of what was happening, and especially if you can sit kind of behind one of the nets, you can see the plays actually being done up and see the ice opening up, and it's a fun experience, at least in Nashville.
I do have a funny hockey story, though. So when my dad left, I went to live with my brother and his wife, and so they were my guardians for a few years. And my sister-in-law was real excited about the Totems, you know, the Seattle Totems, and then they had left, and then we had, I think it was the Breakers at the time, and she was real excited about getting us to go to a hockey game because she loved it. She grew up with it. So we go to this hockey game, and I'm telling you, as soon as the game started, I guess it's called a game. That's how little I know about hockey. So, as soon as they dropped the puck, the guys took off their gloves and started hitting each other. I mean, it literally was like right as soon as it happened. They must have had some sort of grudge, and they're sitting there pounding each other, and the refs aren't stopping it, and they're just pounding each other. I'm like, okay, this is what my guardians are bringing me to. You know, I don't know. I think she was a little embarrassed.
That is hilarious. Yeah, that's a good first experience to a sport. And as a young man, you're probably like, oh yeah, man, this is what I'm talking about. When they just get to fight, this is fantastic.
Yeah, so this is okay. I guess my guardians say it's okay. So
that's right, absolutely. Well, I have one more question here, and Kyle, if you have any, just let me know. You mentioned, and I want to go back to the Dad, How Do I project. You mentioned your daughter helps you out a lot with that, and on this show, we're always talking about like ways to incorporate your children into things that you're doing, activities or sports teams or whatever. How has that been? Having this new venture and it going so successfully, but being able to do that with her, and to just be able to spend that quality time together.
Oh, it's huge. It's been, I share this in my book too about, having to learn a lot of things along the way. And I always tried to include my kids and stuff. It takes longer. If you're going to go build a fence, I could just get it done myself, or come on, guys, let's go learn this together and figure it out. Because I just think that that's important because it's empowering to them. Plus you get that quality time of hanging out together, that I miss now. They're both out of the house, both grown. My son's over in Virginia. You mentioned you're in Nashville. My daughter was in Knoxville. She got married and then they moved to Knoxville for a time. So it's great. I love the connection. And, my wife and I, we wanted to raise great adults and we did that. And now, they're like our peers. I'm asking her questions all the time. I don't know Instagram. She helps me with my Instagram, helps me with Facebook. I didn't even have a Facebook before this thing happened. And so I actually created a Facebook account just so I could look at what she was doing with Dad. How do I? Yeah. So she's a big help, and she's a lot of the brains behind it. I'll run stuff by her and she said, no, I don't think you should do that. That would be not so good. So she's a good resource for sure.
Absolutely. Well, again, Rob, thank you for your time. And it, I know Kyle and I both feel the same way as so many people that subscribe to your channel do. Like this, it's really awesome what you're doing. And again, God bless you for just being that person there for young men or young women who haven't had that experience, and just to not only think of the idea, but just continuing to follow through it, man. It's awesome. So thank you so much. And we've been so glad to have you a part of this show.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, and thanks for the encouragement. I'm so grateful that I went viral for something positive, and just want to keep it up. And I want to try to, if to the best of my ability, make being a dad a cool thing. You got the Homer Simpsons and the Al Bundys, and it's cool to be a dad and enjoy it while you have the time, and trying to get people to hang in there and enjoy it.
That's right. Absolutely. Yep. So it's Dad, How Do I on YouTube. You can also find them, as Rob said, on Instagram and Facebook. Tell us really quickly about the book and where can you find the book?
Yeah, so the book's on Amazon, or it's at Target. It's at Barnes & Noble, and it's actually doing really well. It's got, last I checked, over 70 reviews, and it's averaging 5 stars because it's, it is a part memoir. I talk about forgiving my dad, and then I try to pass along some character traits that I learned from my siblings. And then you also got 58 how-tos at the backside. Plus I got some dad jokes thrown in there for you, of course.
Absolutely. Of course. Got to finish it up that way. All right, Rob. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck and continued success for you with everything you've got going on. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we do, we'll be right back with more Dads Watching Sports. Big news in the Dads Watching Sports podcasting world. You've heard us mention it on the show already. We are now part of the Off the Ball Podcast Network. We're super excited to be joining the team of great shows, hopefully adding a little dad flavor to the mix. You can check out Off the Ball Podcast and Off the Ball Network on all your social media sites. Just search Off the Ball Network. And while you're there, give them a like and a follow. You won't regret it. And welcome back to Dads Watching Sports. Michael Draper, Kyle Castles was joined in the last segment by Rob Kenney of Dad, How Do I? Really cool stuff. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type in Dad, How Do I? Again, he's on Facebook and Instagram as well. Really, really cool stuff, Kyle.
Yeah, I think he was fantastic. His videos are great. I'm not. So a peek behind the curtain for the listeners. If you're watching us live, I don't have control over what shows up on the screen, but I think TJ Burns said
Yes.
it best. Huge fan, love your stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think we're both there with TJ. Really good stuff. The book may be the next purchase. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I will definitely have to look into that as well. I think it was really cool when he talked about, the whole premise behind this was just not really having that relationship with a dad growing up and having to figure things out and not wanting that for other people. And it's kind of a perfect storm for him with the pandemic and people indoors and him having the time to do it. And so good on Rob to be able to use that time to be able to, just use it for positive reasons.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And I mean, being a school teacher, man, I see kids all the time that are, in a fatherless home. Like this is the type of stuff that they're looking for from pretty much every adult male in their life. Like, give me what Rob is literally giving them through YouTube. And I know it's through YouTube, but I mean, that is needed in so many homes across the nation, but let's be honest, around the world.
Yeah. Because I mean, you think about, the things that we take for granted. I mean, just thinking about some of the ones he's done, learning how to shave. Like he said, the first time he did it, he didn't know what the heck he was doing. He just tried to figure it out. Tying a tie. I mean, any man who goes into any kind of business world needs to learn how to tie a tie. And a lot of times people may not have a person that tells them how to do that. So just those two things alone are fantastic. So great guest. Well, Kyle, we mentioned it as before the show. Went on vacation. It was great. I know. How was it? And any fun or interesting stories to share?
I got almost one story. Could be funny, could just be a quick shout out, whatever. Each day.
Nice. Yes.
So we left Saturday last week.
Yep.
And drove down to Birmingham, which is where my wife and I went to school. It's where we met. And so we like to stop there and get some food that from a place that we used to frequent, or at least I frequented this place a lot. I think she went with me a good bit, but there was another place kind of like it a little bit further out that she liked to go to. So we stop at Purple Onion in Birmingham, and I got the Purple Onion burger, and it is fantastic. And so we do that. We go to Samford and we sit down on the quad with the kids, and it's kind of surreal. Like, this is college. This is where I met my wife, and we were 20 years old and all that. And now here we are 15 years later, and we got 3 kids, and they're walking in the exact same area that I did. And, walking through what is essentially the student union there and looking at how that's changed and the facelifts that's been done to it and how much better it would be to be there now than when I was there 15 years ago.
So how many times did you tell your children, all right, make sure you go to class when you're in college. Let's learn from dad's mistakes.
I'm really, really hoping they're all students like their mother and not students like their dad.
Same.
So we did that. My sister and brother-in-law are over in Tuscaloosa now. And so they drove over and met us. We went to the zoo in Birmingham and we had dinner with them at Taco Mama out at the Summit. For those listeners down in Birmingham, you know all about Taco Mama at the Summit because it was a happening place. And just had a good time kind of hanging out with them a little bit for the day. Then we go and we stay at a hotel just south of Birmingham, which was fun to find. Come to find out, there was a huge baseball and a huge basketball, like I guess AAU basketball and baseball. There's all sorts of different summer leagues, and apparently there was a tournament for both going on in Birmingham, and
Nice.
There was not a room to be had anywhere at any hotel 1 hour north of Birmingham, 1 hour south, and anywhere in between. We happened to walk into a Holiday Inn that just had literally one room available, and I took it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that was the third or fourth hotel we had stopped at trying to get a room. So the room was fine. It's a hotel room, right?
Yep.
Slept, got up, hit the road fairly early, and drove all the way down to Panama City Beach. I know you said Turks and Caicos. It wasn't that good.
Oh, come on now. You got to Panama City to hop on your private flight.
Is that what we did? Okay, well, yeah, sure. If that's what you want that's what you want the listeners to think.
Absolutely.
So we drove down to Panama City Beach. We have this is the second time we stayed in this same little condo place, and last year we walk in, it's fantastic. There's like 2 little bunk beds right there beside the door, then a bathroom, then a living room, and then a bedroom with another bathroom off of it. A nice condo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we found that one off VRBO last year. This year, I could not find one on VRBO. COVID's no longer a thing. People are going down there again, right? But I remember, like, okay, I know the name of this, and I'm not going to say the name of the condo unit because this may not be super nice of them, but we get there, same building, and it's right. Location's perfect. It's across the street from this place called Gulf World that becomes an issue here in a minute.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we're at this condo and we get our room keys and we get in, and it's nothing like the one we stayed in the year before. You would think like they're all set up roughly the same. Like, okay, the last one was a privately owned condo, so maybe a few more amenities, but basically the same. No, there was one bathroom, and it was like a Jack and Jill bathroom between the living room and the bedroom. There's a pull-out couch. There was no washer and dryer. There was one in the unit last year. And look, a washer and dryer is almost a necessity when you go to the beach.
Without a doubt.
So that it was a huge letdown. Like the minute we walk in, like this is not what we thought we were going to get. It makes it really hard because my 4-year-old Jack, that dude doesn't sleep past 6. Like he's usually up at about 5. Well, here's the problem. If he's up at 5 and he's back with just Wrigley, like maybe they get up, but they stay back around the bunk beds. Or Jack doesn't even wake Wrigley up because Wrigley's at the top bunk and Jack doesn't climb up the ladder. Like it works out fine. Well, now they're sharing a pull-out couch, and Hannah, the 1-year-old, we literally put up a sheet, like stuck it between like a closet door and the refrigerator to give her own little room.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. He woke everybody up. By 6:30, all 3 kids are awake. So all 3 kids in one room. It wasn't good. Yeah. But we get to day 2. Day 2 is a beach day, right? We're going to have a great day. I promise you, 15 minutes into that beach trip, we start hearing, when can we go to the pool? Like, bro, we got pools in Tennessee. This is a beach. We don't have this in Tennessee.
So I saw there was a social media post where your wife said, well, like, you guys have been to the beach for like 5 minutes and somebody already had to poop. And I think it was maybe one of your relatives chimed in and said, "Oh, was Kyle? Did he have to go really quick?"
It was not one of my relatives. It was actually a former colleague from work.
Okay. Yeah.
Who's friends with my wife on Facebook, but not friends with me, and that's okay with me.
Well, yeah.
Most people like my wife better than me anyway, so I get it.
It's true.
But at the end of the day, we had I don't remember if that was Tuesday or Wednesday, but one of those days. So there's a bathroom. You get off the elevator on the first floor, and you're at beach level. You walk off the elevator down probably a 20-yard hallway, and you're in the sand. There's a bathroom right before you get to the sand, and boys, you got to go. You at least got to try. Well, they both go in. They both pee. I mean, I'm just going to use words that I use. They both pee. We walk out. We're like, okay, we got all this done. 5 minutes later, Jack goes, "I got to poop." Seriously.
Nice.
Like, I've had enough time to get the umbrella set up, enough time to get the chair set up, and all of a sudden he's got to go poop.
Yeah. Hey man, when you got to go, you got to go. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter what chairs.
Oh, no,
have been
no.
set up.
I asked him on the way back to the bathroom. I said, "Did you have to poop when we come down?" Mm-hmm. Why did you poop then? We were in the bathroom. I don't know.
You know, that would have made too much sense. That would have made too much sense.
Look, we had a good time. I mean, we did something. So there's a company down there called Pirate Cruise. If you ever go to Panama City, take your kids. They were fantastic. It's a pirate ship. Like tag them in this. They said to shout them out any way possible. I'm telling you right now, like tag them. Pirate Cruise.
Pirate Cruise.
It was fantastic. The crew was great. The boys were excited. I mean, they had like water gun fights, sword fights. They found some buried treasure in the ocean.
Very nice.
Heck yeah. And they set it up where the kids could help pull it in, and it was great. The crew was great. They treated the kids well. On the way in, I was like messing with Wrigley, saying like, these may not be nice pirates. And the first one we saw was a woman, and she was super sweet. And he was like, they were nice. And then I see this other pirate coming up, and he's big. He's probably my size, right? And I say, oh, but he may not be. And the guy looked at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, oh, I was telling him you may not be a nice pirate. He said, no, or a mean pirate. He said, no, we don't have those around. We're all nice pirates.
Nice.
The ship was great. It was a really, really is probably the highlight of the trip was the pirate cruise. Day 4 was pretty relaxed. We kind of gotten into a groove about getting up, doing breakfast, getting to the beach, all that good stuff. Went to Bayou Bill's Crab House, and they had a crab thing for 2, and I got a half order of it. So it was a crab thing for 1, but I still ended up with, I think, like just over 2 pounds of crab legs.
Nice.
And I proceeded to eat most of it.
Attaboy.
What I didn't eat, I gave to Lauren because she loves crab legs, but she didn't want crab that night. So she ordered this like seafood feast, which I ate most of the crab that I didn't give her. I ate all of it. Plus, I cleaned up her plate. And we're walking out, and we're getting in the van to go back to the room. And I say to her, she was like, "Man, I'm so full." I was like, "I'm really not. Like, I could eat more. I'm not that full." To which my 4-year-old Jack, who I love, replies, "But Daddy, your belly's so big." Oh, that made me feel good.
That's hilarious.
So the last full day we were there, we had 2 spots for Wrigley and Mama and Lauren to go swim with dolphins across the street at Gulf World. I told you this one was coming back. And Gulf World's great. Gulf World is fantastic. If you're in Panama City, go check out Gulf World. They do a great job. And so they're swimming with dolphins. Now, Jack is the type of kid who says he wants something, and then when he gets it, he hates it and he doesn't want anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to buy him a spot to swim with dolphins is not a smart move, because he might say he wants to do it and then back out, and you have to give a name. We didn't know it was a thing. And by the time we actually got around to booking it, there were only 2 spots left. So it was Lauren and Wrigley going to swim with dolphins. And it was a little bit of a hectic morning, but not too bad. We're sitting where they do the dolphin show. So this is kind of big stadium area with a big pool in front of you. And Lauren was like, we'll swim right there. Y'all can stay right here. Well, that's not what happened. There were like different groups, and Lauren's group got taken to the back in the middle of the back pool. And we were on this far end. So we had to walk around there, sit in the sun where it was already hot. Can't really see Mama and Wrigley doing stuff with the dolphins because they were so far. I mean, it was awful. Jack is whining the whole time about, I want to swim with the dolphins. And I'm like, you can't swim with the dolphins. Like, but I want to. Like, it's not a possibility at this point. Right? And they had about an hour worth of a dolphin swim, and probably 45, 50 minutes into it, I just said, I'm done. I picked Hannah up. I took Jack. We went back out to where we were sitting at the start, and things had calmed down just a little bit. And all of a sudden, Jack goes, Hannah's pooping.
Yep. Here we go. Now the good stuff.
Yeah, right. And I go, what? And I look down, and she has got
blowout.
A huge blowout.
Nice.
And the only thing solid. So I'm going to be really graphic, and I just don't care. If you want to skip over this when you're listening to the show, when you're going back and listening for the second or third time, this is the point you want to skip a few minutes. When I go and eat seafood, I like to get the buckets. It's got the crab legs and the sausage and the.
Where are you going?
Hang on, it's got the crab legs and the sausage and the potatoes and the corn, corn on the cob.
Yeah,
I'm not a big corn on the cob guy. I'm not a big corn guy. I mean, outside of popcorn, I don't tend to eat corn.
Okay.
I'd usually give the corn on the cob to Hannah because she can just kind of gnaw on it.
Now,
the only thing solid in the poop were the corn kernels.
Nice.
And it is nasty. By the time I get her undressed, covered in poop, Lauren's coming out. And I just say, like, this is yours. Like, I am done. Hannah was screaming the whole time. Jack was whining the whole time. Like, I'm done. I spent an hour dealing with all of this. And she's in there in the water going like, I'm dancing with the dolphin. This is so much fun. It's hot. They're screaming. Like, I quit. I quit for a moment. Quit being a dad. I just want to be Kyle. I want to be left alone. I'm not a dad right now. And I think we've all run into that situation or similar situation before.
I was going to say, and so all of this, you must have had a premonition about all this when you decided to get that vasectomy back last year. Was it in knowing that what you just went through, Kyle? Was the clamping down worth it?
Yeah. Should have done that.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to our website. Go back to, I don't even know what episode it was, but you'll see
probably episode 40 something.
And you'll see Kyle's vasectomy, and on that,
you won't see it. I mean,
you won't see it,
but you won't see
it. We can't get too graphic, but there's definitely a clamp involved.
Yes,
we had a lot of fun with that.
But you know what? It worked out okay, sort of. So that same day. So we get her changed. We leave Gulf World, walk back across the street to get her new clothes. We sit there for an hour and let everything just calm down. Go back, have a good time looking at the rest of the animals at Gulf World, watching the dolphin show. Go back to the room for rest time, and me and Lauren have probably been laying down, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and Jack runs in and says, Hannah's pooped and is throwing it. So we get in. She has taken her diaper off. She's peed all over the pack and play. She's pooped all over the pack and play, and she's picking it up and throwing it and smearing it everywhere. It's a lot of fun. So we have to quickly clean all that up. That day ended well, though. We ended up going to a spot called Great White Pizza, and they do kind of that quick fire pizza. You know what I'm talking about. And it was delicious. The next day we leave early. We leave a bag in the room. We drive about 20 minutes, turn around, drive back, get the bag, then leave again. Yeah,
yep, absolutely.
It's a thing. And then what should have been a 7 or 8 hour drive turned into like a 10-hour drive because everyone can't be on the same potty schedule.
Yep.
Like it felt like every hour we were having to stop because somebody had to potty.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a long drive back, but we made it. We're home. I've had 2 pretty good nights of sleep in my own bed. That ate up a lot of time in the show. I apologize, but that was the trip.
Well, it sounds like Turks and Caicos was a great time, and you guys were very relaxed. And it's something that we should all be jealous. If you are wanting to go back, July 26, 2020, episode 25, Kyle's vasectomy recap. We also talked about the top 5 country songs of all time on that episode as well. Well, Kyle, I'm glad that you survived the poop gate and everything involved. It sounds like a great time was had by all. We are going to go and have a great time at a quick commercial break. And when we come back, Kyle, we've got to celebrate your Wrigley Field won our venue bracket as you were out of town. Right. And we're going to talk about Space Jam and a few other things. So we'll be right back on Dad's Watching Sports. Coming up next week on Dad's Watching Sports, Draper is out on vacay, and that means one thing. That's right. The man, the myth, the legend, Kyle Castles is in the big seat. That's right. He's hosting the show, and he'll be joined by the guys from the Coach's Corner podcast. That's next week on Dad's Watching Sports. We'll see you then. Welcome back to Dad's Watching Sports. I'm Michael Draper. He's Kyle Castles. We are on the Off the Ball Network, and we are powered by MyBookie. If you bet right now, you can go to MyBookie, and you can get up to $1,000 sign-up bonus, Kyle, by using the promo code Off the Ball. You can see that fancy little graphic just right above my head right here.
Yep.
So make sure you can go to MyBookie, and you can get the book, and you can get $1,000 worth of sign-up bonus, and it's all kinds of fun. If you're checking us out on our podcast, and wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and hit us with a rating and a review, and hit that subscribe button. We talked about Rob from How Do I had 3.5 million subscribers on YouTube. Kyle, we're just behind him on our YouTube channel, just slightly, our YouTube and our podcast downloads. So thank you to the millions and millions of people out there who download each and every week. We really, really appreciate that. You can also check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Kyle TikToks and does all kinds of fun stuff on there as well. Kyle, we alluded to it in the commercial break. I'm out next week. Draper family going on vacation. I can't wait to hear where you say I'm going on my vacation next week. That's going to be exciting. So I'm out. You're in the captain's chair. Are you excited about your first time hosting?
No, because look, I told you from the very beginning, I am nothing more than the talent. I just show up, I give you what I got, and I'm done. And now all of a sudden you're telling me I got to be the talent and I got to be in charge. I'm going to screw something up. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to screw something up. Just don't get mad at me.
Kyle, when I was thinking about, being out and what to do, it came through my mind. I have zero doubt that you will screw something up, and that's okay. That is okay, because I think it's still going to be a lot of fun. So you're going to be joined by Jonathan Boren and Ryan Watson of the Coach's Corner podcast. They came on with us earlier in the year, and they're going to be coming on and chatting with you. I can't wait to hear some of the topics that you guys get into, whether it's coaching or poop stains or whatever it is. But I'm very excited to do that. So thank you.
What I know,
in all seriousness, thank you for filling in.
What I know is that Ryan is down at the beach, and I believe he's in Panama City right now. So
you guys can compare stories.
We can compare stories. We'll see how that goes. His kids are older, so he's probably having a great time.
Yeah, probably so. All right, Kyle, a couple of things to get into before we get out of here. You were on vacay last week. We finished the venue bracket. You chimed in throughout the show. So we had myself, Matt Kirk, and Mark Gent of Simply a Fan went through it. And Kyle, lo and behold, despite all the odds against it, your Wrigley Field named the Dad's Watching Sports best venue in sports. Were you shocked?
No, I told you. The minute you put the bracket, I told you Wrigley should have been a number one seed. I told you. So it's not a shock. It's just me getting to look at you and say, I told you so.
Well, here's the thing, Kyle. So you did tell me that it should be a number one seed. I still stand by the fact that it should not have been, because as we were kind of putting this bracket together, a couple things here. First and foremost, if I remember correctly, there was at least probably, 3 or 4 texts to you saying, hey, give me who you think should be seated and where they should be seated in this bracket. And if I remember, it serves me correctly, I don't know that you ghosted me on that, Kyle. And so I just came up with it on my own. And then, wait. No, I'm
going to respond to this. No, I want to respond to this. I didn't ghost you. I actually said that I was going to get around to it, and then I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's fair. You just you set me up, and you didn't deliver. But you also have to have a little variety, and wanted to make sure that we had some variety in our seeds. And so Wrigley came in at a solid 3 seed. They overperformed. They got to the Final Four, and they really shined bright and hit a game winner to knock off Yankee Stadium in the final. And Kyle, I don't know if you remember, but really, honestly, the argument that won me over was when Mark said there have been multiple Yankee stadiums There's only been one Wrigley Field. And I thought, you know what? That's a great point.
I wish I had made that argument. It's not something that I didn't think about. It was just not something that – because when we were talking about Yankee Stadium, you would say, well, this isn't just the one now. This includes – which is why I'd never made the argument. Right. But no, I think it makes perfect sense. If you go to Yankee Stadium now, it is not Yankee Stadium that Babe Ruth, Rogers, that crew played in.
Yep. That is true. That is true. Well, congratulations. Quite possibly the most notoriety title that anything associated with Chicago Cubs has, any title that they've won is our now venue bracket. So congratulations to the Cubs.
Look, I think they're probably going to order themselves a new set of rings. I mean, they got the one for 2016 win the World Series, but let's be honest, this is a bigger deal.
Without a doubt. And based off of the way that the Cubbies are performing on the field, they're not going to be back to the World Series anytime soon, if ever. So this is without a doubt, this is what they can hang their hat on. So you're welcome, Wrigley fans. Kyle, Space Jam 2 has been released, featuring your boy LeBron and Bugs Bunny and a host of characters. It's streaming. Kyle, are you going to watch Space Jam 2?
Yes, we're going to watch it. No, we're not going to watch it on HBO Max. We are actually going to go to the theater and watch it because I think you know this about me. I love going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Partly because I enjoy movies, but mostly because of the popcorn.
Popcorn's good stuff. You don't not the corn on the cob, but the popcorn.
The popcorn. The popcorn ranks up there. Like best snacks in the world, popcorn's a solid number 2.
Do you put M&Ms in with the popcorn?
Why would you defile popcorn with something sweet? I want salty. I want buttery. I want nothing sweet.
Oh man, there's nothing better than a little sweet and saltiness.
Well, I agree. I like some sweet and saltiness in other places, but don't mess up my popcorn. Okay. Look, there's like I don't know if you've had this, but there's a bag of like Reese's popcorn with the candy and stuff mixed in. It's wonderful. If you're going on a long road trip, that's the thing. Just have sitting beside you while you drive and take you a handful every once in a while.
Yep.
But if I'm at the movies, I want hot, salty, buttered popcorn. I need all of that like nasty butter oil. I need the bag dripping with it.
Yeah.
It's a heart attack in a bag, but I don't really care.
No, I mean, who does? I remember when I was a kid, I was probably getting close to like teenage years, and my dad went through this like kick for, I don't know, probably like a month, where he was like, or maybe it was like 6 months. Anytime we went to the movies, it was like, nope, no butter on the popcorn. We don't need that. That's not good for you. Like, man, what the heck? And then I mean, like literally, it was like 6 months. He's like, forget it. But it's not anywhere close to being as good. So,
but no, you can thank McDonald's for getting the boys excited about Space Jam. I don't know if y'all have been to McDonald's lately, but when you get the Happy Meal, they have Space Jam toys in there. So they're all sorts of excited to see it.
Very nice. Well, Kyle, it made me think of, this is I don't know if it's a sequel. I don't know if it's like, this is after they beat the Monstars, and then, it comes after this. I don't know what the deal is with this, but it did get me thinking sequels. As we talked about before the show, this could be either the second movie following the first, or it could be, if there's a series, it could be 3, 4, 5, 6. If there's Fast and the Furious 12, for who knows. So Kyle, your top 5 best sequels. You give me your 5 through 2. I'll give you mine, and then we'll both give our number 1.
All right. So at number 5, I have Godfather Part 2. I don't know if you've seen the Godfather films, but the second one, I can't say it's better than the first, but it's a really, really good sequel.
I'm not a Godfather fan. I've seen the first one, and I was like, I didn't see the second or third one.
I mean, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro do a great job in 2.
Yeah, they're decent.
Number 4, and people are going to hate me on this one, but there's just so much for me personally to love. I have Rocky 3.
Okay.
I think Rocky 1 is still the best Rocky movie. The fact that he actually loses in the end is not what any sports movie is, how any sports movie is supposed to end. So I think Rocky 1's the best, but I love Rocky 3. It's the second best. You have Hulk Hogan playing Thunder Lips and Mr. T.
Yep.
just those two characters, like I take a hook, line, and sinker. Number 3 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now, my top 3 I think are all better than the previous movie, and I think Terminator 2 Judgment Day is better than the first Terminator. I don't really know why I think that. It's just I really enjoy Judgment Day. And then number 2, I have Star Wars Episode 5 Empire Strikes Back. It is the best Star Wars movie of all time, hands down. A New Hope is great, but it's not Empire.
It's an interesting list. I have none of that. We're kind of in the same family in a few. So my number 5, I'm going Rocky as well, but I've got 4. I love Rocky 4, just the USA versus Russia, Ivan Drago. I must break him. He kills Apollo Creed, and then Rocky comes out, goes and trains out in the middle of Siberia. He's out there just like lifting. I don't even know what the heck he's lifting. Yeah, I mean, my gosh, it just screams. Oh yeah, it just screams like men, machismo, USA, screw the Russians, commies. I love it. Number 4. I really enjoy the National Treasure movies, like so much so that I probably about every 6 months I like Google, are they making a third one? Because I love those movies.
I love those movies as well. I don't think 2 is a great sequel. Like the first one is so much better than the second one.
See, I thought 2 was really good with the whole Book of Secrets.
No, look, I love 2. I love it, but when you're talking about the best sequels, it didn't make the list. But Lauren gets mad at me because every time it's on TV, I find it and we watch it.
Yeah, I mean it's a great series, and if they make a third, maybe that's you and I movie date at National Treasure 3. Number 3 for me, I've got Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I think it's my favorite Indiana Jones movie. I mean, Temple of Doom's great. Raiders of the Lost Ark
is so good.
But the Last Crusade, I mean, it's got Sean Connery.
I'm with you.
The ending where the knight says, "You have chosen wisely." Like it's fantastic, and he's fighting the Germans. It's really cool. The whole thing with the diary and all that. Number 2 for me, I've got The Dark Knight. I think it's a great film. I think that the Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises, to me, and I know you're a huge Batman fan, but to me that's the best Batman collection, at least me personally. And The Dark Knight was fantastic. I mean, Heath Ledger as the Joker, just was phenomenal. So with that being said, what is your number 1?
You took it.
There you go.
So I'm just going to talk about things I agree with you on. That is the best series of Batman movies. There we go.
Batman.
I totally agree. I love Batman Begins. I tried to get the boys to sit down and watch it. It's too slow for them, right? But you know what they love? They love the Joel Schumacher Batmans, the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, right? The Val Kilmer and George Clooney Batmans, which like Batman Forever is not awful. Jim Carrey's Jim Carrey's always over the top, but a little bit over the top is Riddler. I actually really like Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. I think he pulls it off fairly well. But Jim Carrey kind of ruins that for me. And I think Val Kilmer actually does a pretty good Batman. He's a terrible Bruce Wayne, but I think he's a pretty decent Batman. He's not Michael Keaton, obviously. I'm not a huge Christian Bale Batman fan. Not him as Bruce or Batman, but the story, the arc there from Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises, that whole story is so good. And man, Heath Ledger makes The Dark Knight. It's not to me, The Dark Knight is not a Batman movie. It is a movie about the Joker. And Heath Ledger does it so well. Yeah, I hate that we lost him, right after that movie came out, because he was just so on point. And that movie, just in general, like the story of that movie is just absolutely amazing. With I forget the guy that played Harvey Dent, turns into Two-Face. I forget his name, but like he does a great job. and plays it all really well. But yeah, if you take Heath Ledger out and you put anybody else in, I don't think that movie's near as good.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So my number one, I'm going to the Star Wars family. I'm not going with Empire. And there's I'm going to say the name of the film, and you're probably going to laugh or tell me I'm wrong, but there's a reason. I feel like I've got a good reason for it. Mine is Revenge of the Sith. So I guess it would be 3. The reason that I think that movie, or to me, it's the best, like it ties everything together. We've seen Darth Vader. We've seen young Anakin Skywalker, and then you get to see the turn. And when he makes that turn, I mean, it's like it gets you. And when he makes that turn to the dark side, and then he fights, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they chop each other up, or he chops him up, and he ends up getting at the very end. He gets the mask, and like that movie to me, it's my favorite Star Wars movie. And I know the prequels, everybody's a little on the fence about, but to me, it's my favorite one because it really ties everything together, knowing what you knew about the first 3. So I guess it was 3, episode 3. So yeah, Revenge of the Sith.
Well, look, as long as you don't say episode 1, I had gone back and tried to watch it with the boys. And I mean, I can't. I can't. Yeah. It's just not any good. But episode 3, I actually did enjoy. It's not episode 5. It's not the best Star Wars movie, but it's not bad. And you're right. It gives us what we wanted to see. We wanted to see Anakin. You're using the professional wrestling term of making the turn. We want to see that turn. I want to see the heel turn. I want to see him. Quite frank, and here's the thing: like, it makes Anakin a sympathetic figure while he goes to the dark side.
Of course,
it's done beautifully.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't think Hayden Christensen was that bad of an actor either. I mean, he wasn't great, but I didn't think he was awful. I think he was much better in that movie than he was in the second one. I didn't think.
Yeah, I agree.
But I thought he was really good in Revenge of the Sith. All right, Kyle. Last thing before we get out of here, we will have an NBA champion, whether it's in 6 or 7 games, before you host the show next week. Who you got, Bucks or Suns?
I know it's 3-2 Bucks, but I'm not picking against the Suns. I think they win the next 2. What do you think?
I said at the beginning, Bucks in 6. I'm sticking with Bucks in 6. I'll take Milwaukee, bringing the title home, back to Buckland. So, all right, that's right. Well, it's been fun. It's been good. Special thanks to Rob Kenney for joining us, and we will see you next week, or Kyle will, at least, on Dad's Watching Sports. Y'all take care.